Well, hello, everyone. Welcome to the Friday night call, Saturday morning call down in Australia. This is the Sisel World Team. It's our weekly training. And, you know, Katie and I were just talking the other day, and we were talking about, you know, what do people really want? What do they want to hear about? And it seems like so many times everybody's getting calls. What do I take for this? What do I do for that? And so I thought, you know, why don't we kind of do a call that maybe we'll answer some of those questions for people and make it easier, make it something that they can go back and use it as a tool to build their business and share it with other people. And that's really, you know, when we take a look at this call tonight, you know, the Friday night call, Saturday morning call, this is a business training call, and we really want to help people build their business. You know, if you're not a 1-star, let's get you there. If you're not quite to 2 or 3 or 4-star, wherever you happen to be going, let's work on getting you there. And you know, like Rennie and I were talking the other night, what you want to do is you want to focus on something that you really can control, something that you can visualize. And so when you say 1-star, 2-star, things like that, the problem with it is that if I go out into the general public out here in Fargo, North Dakota, and I start talking about, hey, I just made it to 5-star, you know, they're thinking, oh, did you join the Army? Are you a general? What are you talking about? Because they don't understand that. So I think when you're building, you know, I think the thing you want to start focusing on is something that's tangible, something that you can see and something that other people can see. And that's why really focusing on volume is a great way of doing it, because, you know, that's something that you can talk about and people understand that. And you can say, hey, you know, last month I did, you know, $100,000 a month in sales in my network marketing company, in my other business, right? And they'll look at that and go, wow, okay, so they can understand that. Anyhow, so I'm a chiropractor. I'm up here in Fargo, North Dakota. I ran a successful chiropractic clinic, and I was just kind of looking over some things this morning, putting together my curriculum vitae, and you know, back you know, 12, 14 years ago, I was seeing between 50 to 100 people a day, and really had just a really busy clinic, and so I try and incorporate some of that into what I'm doing with this business, and hopefully some of it's things that I can help you guys with as well. Anyhow, so tonight I really want to address, you know, maybe some ideas on aging and prevention and really optimizing your health. And we've heard the saying, an apple a day keeps the doctor away, right? We've heard the saying, an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. We've heard Edison, he said, or Benjamin Franklin said, the doctor of the future will give no medicine, but will teach his patients in the care of the human frame, in diet, and the cause and prevention of disease. And as we've moved a full circle in healthcare from where we've been for the last 100 years or so, we're coming back to this. We're coming back to it. People want to prevent disease. They don't want to go to the doctor and when they're sick. They actually want to do some things that they can help lower their risk. And so these sayings really come into play. Before we get started, I just want to throw a disclaimer out there right away. There really is no substitute for medical care. If you're feeling sick, if you're feeling like you're developing some sort of a disease, some sort of a chronic issue, go see your doctor, go see your physician, your healthcare provider. There just is no substitute for that. And we're not trying to make any claims. We're not trying to say that we can cure or treat any disease. We're merely saying that we want to help improve your health through optimal nutrition. Our goal is to help you increase the quality of your life. And who wouldn't want that, right? Aging isn't a disease, and healthy aging really is possible. And I just tell people, you know, nobody ever said you have to feel old when you get old. So the first thing that just a lot of people seem to talk to me about is cancer. You know, and this is one of those words that, you know, when you're doing nutrition, sometimes people are afraid to say the word and things like that. You just got to be careful. You just got to say, hey, look, we're not treating, we're not curing, anything like that. But when you take a look at cancer, a lot of sources, you know, research and scientists, doctors, even the National Institutes of Health, they tell us that cancer is man-made. When they went back and studied the Egyptian mummies, you know, they didn't find cancer in any of the mummies, and they're able to detect that. And so they're saying that it's really a man-made disease, and we live in a toxic world, so we're just going to see more and more of it. The Centers for Disease Control back in 2012 said that by the year 2020, cancer was going to increase by 50%. And so I always just tell people that when you're listening to somebody tell you that we're winning the war on cancer, I just shake my head a little bit. I'm like, where? Yeah, we've made some headway on like childhood cancers, things like that, maybe breast cancer, leukemia, but really the other cancers are just seeming to go up. And that, so what's the cause? We live in a toxic world, and on top of that, our food is lacking the nutrition that we need. Part of that's because of the way we process it. Part of it is the fact that our soil is just, it's so depleted because we've over-farmed it, and we just haven't replaced all the minerals that we need to make the crops nutritious. I mean, we get great crops. We get, you know, corn and wheat that's out of this world as far as bushels per acre, but it's not as nutritious as it used to be. So it makes sense that if this is part of the cause, why don't we address these issues, right? Number one, toxicity in the environment. You know, one of the things is avoid the toxins when possible. Sometimes it's just impossible. I mean, I live here in a farming community. There's farm fields just down the street from me, and I live in town. It's just down the street, and they're spraying all kinds of chemicals on that crop, and you don't think that drifts over here into my yard? Yeah, you better believe it. And then there's toxicity in our body. You know, once you've already been exposed to toxins, what do you do about that? So, you know, let's figure out what products we can use to maybe detoxify your body. And then another cause is the lack of nutrition in our food. Well, that's why we need nutritional supplements, and research has shown that nutritional supplements are something that a prudent person would use. And then let's build the cellular health. Let's make it so that the cells, I just kind of joke around a little bit, and I say, let's make your body Chuck Norris strong. And when my kids were young, they used to tell these Chuck Norris jokes, you know, and they told this joke. I remember the one that always sticks in my mind. They said, you know, when Chuck Norris jumps, he doesn't actually move. The world moves underneath his feet, right? The world moves underneath his feet. What if your body could be Chuck Norris strong, and the bacteria and the cancer cells were more scared of you than you were of it, right? And so we move into the Sisel products, and I just kind of threw a picture of all the products here. Super Detox and Fucoidan and Body Shield are excellent choices for detoxing the body. All three of them really work together, and they work on different areas of the body, at the cellular level, in the liver, in the digestive system, and they pull the toxins out. And you don't have to get into it so in-depth like some people think they have to do. You just have to remember these are excellent choices for detox. The Body Shield and the Fucoidan are something that I do every single day. The Super Detox, I do that about 4 times a year. And then you got, you know, ingredients that are great for building the strength of the cells, making it so your cells are stronger. The Fucoidan, It bumps up the immunity, right? If you have a strong immune system, it's going to kill cancer cells, right? You have Eternity. Eternity has a property known as anti-angiogenesis. Again, you don't have to remember that. Have people listen to the presentation. But anti-angiogenesis means it cuts off the blood supply to the tumor. And then Eternity also repairs the damaged DNA. Avenger has got ingredients in it that like chaga and some Native American herbs and ancient Chinese herbs that bump up the immune system. And one of the things that also causes cancer besides toxins, besides toxicity, is viruses. And Avenger is really good at that. So's Influence. I actually don't have that on here. And then, of course, the Age Pill. What the Age Pill does is it removes the glycation. It removes the lipofuscin, which is the garbage that builds up in your body because of metabolism, because you're alive. And so the Age Pill removes that stuff out of your body and allows the cells, allows the stem cells to work the way they're supposed to. And, you know, you just think about that. Won't that make your body stronger so that you fight this stuff off? And then you take a look at SpectraMax and Compass 360. These are great products for providing daily nutrition, like I was talking about earlier. Any prudent person knows that they need to have a supplement because you just aren't getting it. I was talking to somebody today who's a vegan, and I said, you know, the problem with being a vegan is that where are you going to get some of that nutrition? Where are you going to get some of those proteins, things like that? Where are you going to get some of those essential fats? You can do it. You can do it. I've got some friends that are really good vegans, and they eat right. They eat right. They know where to get it, but most people aren't going to do that. They jump on that bandwagon and they think that they're just going to, you know, be a vegan for a while, and it's just not healthy. And then, of course, I think the last but maybe the most important thing is remove those toxins from your life wherever you possibly can. You know, drink filtered water. Drink water that comes from a source that's good and clean. Use personal care products like the Sisel personal care products that are without toxins. They're effective. Some of the most powerful toxins that are most powerful products you can get that toxin free. Most of the other products, they're loaded with crap to make them work. And yeah, they work, but there's a price you pay. And we'll talk about aging skin later. Last year was the first year that cancer actually passed heart disease as the #1 killer in America. First time ever, right? And heart disease, in so many cases, it's preventable. And cardiovascular disease, when you look at my slides, it says CVD, cardiovascular disease, is caused by stress on the system, which causes plaque to develop in the vessels. That eventually causes enlargement of the heart, congestive heart failure, and it can cause blockage in veins and arteries and capillaries and arterioles, and this can cause heart attacks and strokes. And so this is the cause of it. And so what causes the stress? What causes the stress on the system? Well, when I say stress, everybody thinks of, oh, emotional stress, my spouse, my kids, my job, my lack of money, this, that, those other things, right? And that is a cause of stress. There's another cause of stress called chemical stress. And when you're exposed to toxins in your environment, when you're exposed to toxins in your water and your air and your food, right? That's chemical stress. And then you have physical causes of stress. I was in a motorcycle accident about 10 years ago, and it left me all beat up. You don't think that every time I walk down the street that I have some stress on my body? You dang well better believe it. And so, but when we're talking about heart disease, let's focus on the chemical stress. Let's focus on that. And believe it or not, folks, believe it or not, the #1 source of stress on the cardiovascular system is actually sugar. It's not lead or mercury or Teflon or anything like that. It's sugar. And the body looks at sugar as a toxin. It creates some problems. So I really want to cover that. And if you want to help improve that, what you want to do is you want to lower your dietary sources of processed carbohydrates. Improve the system by giving your body the right nutrition that supports a healthy cardiovascular system. Again, kind of moving over to the Sisel products. Many scientists are telling us that heart disease, people that die of heart attacks and strokes, every single one of them, they're finding Teflon lining the arteries. And you think Teflon, well, I don't use a Teflon-coated frying pan. And I just read that the other day, and I thought, you know what? They put Teflon in a lot of different skincare products. They don't call it Teflon. They call it by other names. And these chemical companies, they're tricky about that. But what happens is that this skincare and these personal care products, they have Teflon. And what it does, it leaves the skin hard and smooth, and you look like you have healthy skin because your skin, it pulls the wrinkles out, but it's lining it with Teflon. And the toxins from Teflon, that stuff can be absorbed into your system, and it goes right in there. And what that does is it has to be deposited somewhere, so it gets deposited in the fatty tissue. And cholesterol is fat. Cholesterol gets deposited in the arteries, and that's why the Teflon gets lined up in there. And so we want to use, again, detox types of products that'll help remove that, like the Body Shield, and we want to use the Fucoidan, and you want to use the Super Detox, things like that. And Super Omega Plus has essential fatty acids, good, healthy fatty acids. When you see the word essential, it means that your body needs them. And that's because it supports a healthy heart cardiovascular system. And it has CoQ10 in it. CoQ10 is coenzyme Q10, which is an enzyme that your cardiovascular system needs. Now, the difference between Super Omega Plus with the CoQ10 and a lot of other products, when people tell me, oh, I already take a CoQ10 product. The problem with it is that most of the time when they think they're getting CoQ10, they're actually getting an inactive form, and in some cases it's reverted over to CoQ9, right? You never hear of CoQ9 because it doesn't have the benefits of CoQ10. And so we mix ours in with our essential fatty acids with the Super Omega Plus. We've got Omega 7. Which we're seeing a lot more reading on it. Some major universities are doing studies on it, finding that it makes the other, like the omega-3s, work better. And then we have Eternity. Eternity has resveratrol. And resveratrol is not only necessary for repairing DNA, but it's good for a healthy cardiovascular system. And, one of the things that I've learned in the last 5 years is that resveratrol isn't resveratrol, right? And remember that when you're talking to people and they say, oh, I already take resveratrol, and you say, yeah, but resveratrol isn't resveratrol. And what I mean by that is that when they did the studies and proved that resveratrol was healthy for you, what they were using was freshly squeezed grapes, and they were taking the resveratrol fresh from the grape, and they found that it had properties that were really, really beneficial for your health and for your body. But when you take most products, what they do is they take the resveratrol, they put it into a pill form so it gets exposed to oxygen. When it gets exposed to oxygen, it oxidizes, and it doesn't have the health benefits anymore. Plus, it's rarely in the dosages that your body needs. What Tom's figured out and patented is a way that he takes the resveratrol, he puts it into a liquid, and when it's still fresh, he takes and he basically it's coated with a liposome that protects it, just like a grape skin protects the grape. It protects the resveratrol, and then he puts it into the bottle, and he reverse fills the bottle with nitrogen, so that as you're filling the bottle with the Eternity, it's not being exposed to oxygen, it's not being exposed to air, and then he caps the bottle, and the first time it gets exposed to air, is when you uncap that bottle. So you're getting an effective dose of resveratrol. And I know you've heard testimonials about this product. And then we have 4-Restore. And 4-Restore has a number of ingredients, L-citrulline, L-arginine, and things like that. But the one that I want to talk about right here is the L-arginine, because that's the one that everybody's familiar with. You don't have to bring up all the other ingredients. Just bring up that it has L-arginine, which was the subject of the Nobel Prize in 1998, because they found that it works like a roto-rooter in your arteries. It cleans the arteries out, and it supports a healthy cardiovascular system. That's all you have to know about it, right? And if you're worried about health problems, if you're worried about heart disease, if it runs in your family, wouldn't it make sense to get on these products? Wouldn't it just make sense? And then you have the age pill, and the age pill removes glycation and lipofuscin. Glycation, again, being that sugar coating. Lipofuscin being the fatty deposits that are made, the byproducts of burning fat, there's energy, right? So you can see that over and over again, you're going to start seeing the same products listed in various different areas because they cross over. They have a number of different health benefits. So you'll hear me saying that. And then we talk about really kind of, in America, this is the number one thing that people are worried about. They're not worried about heart disease. They're not worried about having a stroke. They're not worried about cancer as much as they're worried about losing their mind. They're not worried about everything else because the medical system has just convinced everybody, oh, you're going to get it. And everybody's accepted that. And so now they're focusing on how do I keep my mind healthy, which is a good thing. It's a good thing. But, you know, I don't want people to stop forgetting about the cancer and the heart disease, whether it's number 1 or number 2, you know, concerns and killers in America. We still want to keep that in the top of everybody's mind. But as we see the average age, as we see people getting older and average age increasing, there's going to be more and more problems with dementia and memory issues. Here in the United States, probably all across the world, we're seeing nursing homes and places, retirement villages where they have nursing staff, and they're preparing for a lot of people that are going to have this. If you've been on any kind of an antidepressant, an SSRI type of drug, you've increased your odds of being diagnosed with this type of an issue because those medications deplete the system of serotonin and dopamine and these neurotransmitters in the brain. If you're on certain allergy medications, you can actually cause problems with dementia and memory issues. Some people just have a higher risk. Some people have poor genetics, and they're just at a higher risk of developing dementia. And so how do you know? You can go and you can order a lab test, and you can find out. Again, for those of you that are in Australia, I use a company out of Australia called Smart DNA, and I like their lab. It's the price is right. On top of it, they have a good, easy to understand a report. When you get it back, you don't have to be a brain surgeon to understand what it says. It comes back and it gives you an owner's manual on you, so you know. It tells you the different things. And then glycation and lipofuscin, again, you see these words again. They cause damage to the cells in the brain. And then heavy metals, lead, mercury, and aluminum cause problems. They get deposited in the fatty tissue of the brain, and it causes the nerves to short out. Think of it like a computer. If all of a sudden you start having a computer that's filled with dust and that kind of stuff, it's not gonna perform like a good brand new computer. And then you want to have a diet that consists of good fats, because the connections between the neurons is actually made of fatty tissue. And then, of course, we have a magnesium deficiency going on in the country right now, and magnesium is so needed for function of the brain. Brain Vitality is one of the most important products I've ever seen in support of the healthy brain tissue. It contains ingredients like magnesium threonate. Magnesium threonate is a relatively newcomer to the magnesium field. It's a special kind of magnesium that passes right into the brain, and it supports brain health. Brain Vitality has turmeric, which helps with decreasing inflammation. And we use one of the most researched forms of turmeric. We don't just throw a little bit of it in there and say, oh, yeah, it's in there. No, we put the right stuff in. That's the one thing that you'll start hearing a lot of people talking about once they've been with Sisel for a while, is that we know that what we're putting in our products is the very best. We don't have to question, are we using a inferior grade? Brain Vitality also has Bacapa. Bacapa has a lot of studies itself, and it helps to improve the health of the brain tissue, healthy brain function, and nerve connections. Super Omega Plus contains healthy fats, essential healthy fat. Again, here we see Super Omega, right, for healthy brain function. Fat is the connections. It's the wires between the neuron. If your brain is a computer and the neurons are the little memory chips, the fatty tissue is the wire. It's the connections. And that's why you need to have that in your body. Fucoidan contains an extract from brown seaweed that's been studied to decrease inflammation. You know, again, we can't say, oh, Sisel fucoidan decreases inflammation, but what we can say is we can say that the extract from brown seaweed has plenty of studies on it that does. And Tom spent millions of dollars and got two Genius Awards for his work on decreasing or increasing the potency of fucoidan. And then, of course, we have the age pill, which has a superior form of niacin and niacinamide it's making the news. I mean, you're seeing it everywhere. All the TV channels have talked about it. Stanford is doing research on it. Harvard is doing research on it. There's a university in Australia, and there's universities all across the globe that are doing studies on it. And because they found that it removes glycation and lipofuscin. Again, you see those words. And this helps with supporting a healthy brain. I don't have to get into the science behind it. It supports a healthy brain. And then we look at digestive issues. You know, if I said, hey, for all of you that are on the call, raise your hand if you have digestive issues. Raise your hand if you've had indigestion in the last month. Raise your hand if you've had any form of loose stools or constipation, or you've had irritability, or you've had something going on. 70% of people have digestive issues. 70%. I would see 70% of you raising your hand. And people don't really realize what the gut actually is. There's a hole on one end and there's a hole on the other end, and it's just a pipe. It's a pipe that runs through you. And this tube, stuff goes in one end, stuff comes out the other end. And in between, what happens is our body adds some acids, we add some enzymes, and that breaks down the stuff that goes in. Along the way, the body pulls out the things that it needs, and then waste products from metabolism gets dumped back into the gut. Finally, all the stuff that you didn't need and the waste product that gets dumped back in there, it gets eliminated out the other end. Pretty easy explanation. And, you know, we used to always hear that saying, you are what you eat. You know, I want you to start thinking about it. You are what you don't poop out, right? You are what you don't poop out. So let's look at some potential problems, right? We put some bad stuff in. A lot of people eat processed foods. I don't care where you live in the world. A lot of people are eating processed foods, so they're putting bad stuff in. Then you have another issue where maybe the body doesn't add the right enzymes. It doesn't add the right acids. Then you have the protective barrier that might not be there. And you get leaky gut, right? And this can cause allergies and things like that. It can cause some autoimmune stuff as well. And then you have the fourth issue, which maybe there's just not the right enough of enzymes or acids, and the food doesn't get broken down properly, especially protein, incompletely broken down proteins. And what happens is that when these incompletely broken down proteins get absorbed into the body, what happens is your immune system says, hey, that's not supposed to be there. And so it attacks it, and it sets up in a memory cell, and all of a sudden you have an autoimmune disorder because your body says, hey, look, that looks like the cells in Kurt's lungs. Let's attack that too. right? And that's what happens. That's what causes autoimmune disorder. So as this issue develops, so do tumors and cancer cells and things like that. And you just don't need it, folks. You just don't need it. And so Balance D it's not a vitamin D product. I think it's a little confusing for some people. They see the D and they go, oh, that's vitamin D. Now, this is D for digestion. And this product is designed to help with support and balance of the healthy immune system. It's got probiotics. It's got prebiotics. It's got the healthy bacteria. It's got the food for the healthy bacteria so it can rebuild your gut. It's got fiber. It's got other nutrition that improves digestion. Then we've got Super Omega Plus. Again, here's this product all over again. You're starting to see this is necessary for everything. Essential fats are healthy for a healthy gut. Then you have turmeric. You can get that from Brain Vitality. You can get it from Renovator. Turmeric is really good for inflammation in the digestive system. I'll recommend Brain Vitality and Renovator to people, and that's why I don't have any issues with that. And I say, well, but you do with your gut, and you need to get rid of that inflammation. And then fucoidan, again, it's got the brown seaweed. The brown seaweed has plenty of research indicating that it's got benefits. It's helping for inflammation. And then we start talking about hormonal issues. And men just don't have as many hormonal issues as women do. Our bodies just don't have to change from one that supports the growth of a baby within us to changing to a body that doesn't need to have a healthy pregnancy anymore. That's the big difference. And so part of the reason that we see more autoimmune diseases in women is because their immune system has to be different than the immune system in men. And that's the main reason, is because we don't have babies growing in us. And then a lot of our food is tainted with endocrine disrupting hormones, things that mess up the hormones in your body. Toxic endocrine disruptors are everywhere. Plastic water bottles. I see people drinking water from a plastic water bottle, and I just kind of cringe a little bit, and I'm like, oh, man, do you know what you're getting from that? And then you get endocrine disruptors in the air, and you get it in your food. A lot of meat. You go to the store and you buy chicken and turkey and beef, and it's loaded. It's loaded with hormones that cause problems inside your body. And then we eat diets that are high in carbohydrates, which create issues in the body, and that also disrupts the normal, healthy hormonal changes. And so when we're looking at the Sisel line of products, we've got the Inner Chi for him and her. It was designed to help support healthy hormones. And men and women are different, so there's definitely a difference in the hormonal issues. There's definitely a difference in the product. But there's certain extracts that are in there that are added to the for her product that supports a healthy breast tissue. And in men, there's an ingredient that helps with a healthy prostate. Women suffer from menopausal issues at certain times in their life. Inner Chi was designed to be of benefit for that as well. High-carb diets aren't healthy for a healthy hormone system, and so we need to look at that. Toxins are found in skin care and personal care products that interrupt the healthy hormonal levels, and so Sisel has non-toxic products that help with that. We have the Super Omega Plus. Again, look at here it is again. That helps with the essential omega oils. It helps out with making healthy hormones. If you don't have enough fat, your body can't make hormones. If you eat the wrong fat, then you're going to make the wrong hormones. Eternity has resveratrol. Resveratrol has been the subject of studies that show that it helps with healthy estrogen balance, and men need estrogen too. Just remember that. And then we get into talking about depression and anxiety and emotion. You know, it wasn't that long ago I attended a lecture that said that future health issues were going to be happening because of all the use of the SSRI type antidepressant drugs. What they do is they cause an imbalance in the chemicals of the brain, and they cause depletion of other ones. And Super Detox helps to pull out chemicals that are toxic to the body. Super Omega Plus provides omega oils that helps support healthy brain function. Brain Vitality, we've gone over that. It supports healthy brain function. You've got Avenger and Sisel Cafe that contain chaga. Chaga was studied over in Russia to be a benefit to help the body deal with adrenal stress. It helps balance out the adrenal glands. Adrenal glands is where a lot of your master hormones are made. And then a lot of your serotonin is made right around the gut tissue. So if you have a healthy gut, chances are you're going to have a healthy serotonin system. Fucoidan has an extract, again, brown seaweed, that helps with proper sugar metabolism. Exercise. I can't stress it enough that exercise is great for making it so you can handle depression. And then the best way of dealing with depression is go help other people. Help other people, because when you're helping them, then your life just doesn't look so bad. And what happens is that it helps pull you out of that slump that you're in. And toxins, like we talked about earlier, they can affect the brain function. Toxins can cause depression, anxiety, emotions, and that's because of the thyroid. So again, Body Shield is really, really important because it helps out with a healthy thyroid. And then we move on to joint disease, arthritis, and people call me up and they say, hey, Kurt, you know, what do I do? My knee is killing me. I feel like I'm 90 years old and I'm only 30, right? And that's just not normal. But joints wear out just like the tires wear out in your car. And your stem cells are kind of the repair guys in your body. They fix things. And what happens is that when you're young, you have plenty of stem cells. When you're old, you don't have as many. And so you want to build that back up. And that's where the age pill really comes in, and it helps to remove this glycation and this lipofuscin. And what happens is that then the stem cells can come back to life. They can come out of senescence, which is hibernation in an easy way of saying it. And that's going to help with rebuilding so your body can fix itself, right? You have this innate intelligence in your body that says that your body can fix itself. And then, of course, you know, as a chiropractor, I can't say enough for, you know, getting regular chiropractic care. It realigns you biomechanically. Massage therapy helps out, pressure point therapy, trigger point therapy, all of those different things. Renovator is a great product. It's designed to remove inflammation. It's designed to provide proper support for healthy joints. A lot of these ingredients have tons and tons of studies on them, and it shows that it can help support proper collagen health. One of the most common things that people go to the doctors for here in America is lack of energy. They're tired all the time. And you know, how in the world are you going to have enough energy when your body's constantly battling all these other things? And so what I try and tell people is that, you know, the first thing that I would say if your issue is energy, age pill, because the age pill is going to remove that lipofuscin, that glycation, and it's going to support healthy energy production. If you've listened to Tom talk about this, you hear him say about how it helps produce hydrogen and electrical energy for the body. It helps with the mitochondria, and the mitochondria is the most damaged part of the cell as far as DNA from stress and things like that. And your brain looks at chemical stress the same as it looks at as emotional stress. It looks at physical stress at the exact same level. Your brain doesn't distinguish what kind of stress. It just says there's stress. And what happens is that causes issues, and we've talked about super detox and Body Shield and fucoidan for removing chemical stress. We talked about dietary change to make it so your gut works better. We talked about using Renovator to improve the joint health for physical stress. And then your body needs a good, clean fuel to produce energy. I like Sisel because it has the undenatured protein. It has low carbohydrate, low sugar content. I use fire and iced tea because of the energy boost that it gives me. And then the age pill, again, just gives me clarity, and I just find that when I take it, I have energy. And I don't drink these energy drinks, but Ultramax is a good, quick pick-me-up. It's not loaded with sugars. It's not loaded with the caffeine that a lot of the other products take. And a lot of people that like energy drinks, they really like the Ultramax for that little boost they'll get from it. And if you follow the protocols that I've covered in the other systems in your body, you're going to find that when those systems start to heal up, your body can start producing more energy, so you're going to have more energy. We're going to talk about healthy aging. And, you know, a study was done not that long ago. I was at a presentation down in Minneapolis, I don't know, let's see, it's 2018. That was back in 2012, so 6 years ago. And they said in a survey, women were asked which one they would rather have, smarter children or look 10 years younger. And, you know, for me, I would have said, hey, I'd rather have smarter kids. I don't care if I look 10 years older. But they didn't. They chose A. They said their children would survive. They'd make it. Man, bad answer in my opinion, but that's you know, that's how people are. But skin ages due to lack of proper nutrients. It ages because of oxidation, environmental damage. It ages because of stem cells. It ages because of toxins. It ages because you don't get the right hydration. And it's quite amazing how a lot of people just don't realize that what goes on the body, it goes in the body, and then it has to come out of the body. And that the skin is one of the largest filters. And so what happens is if you've got toxins that come from your diet, sometimes that's going to be pushed out through your skin. Your liver and your kidneys just can't filter it, so it filters through the skin, and it causes a problem. So, you know, switch over to Sisel Safe Skincare. Switch over to Sisel Safe Personal Care product because they don't have the toxins. And then also, you know, get that gut working healthy, because if you have a healthy gut, chances are you're going to have healthy skin. You know, people used to come to me and they'd say, oh, why is my skin so dry? And I'd say, do you have problems with your gut? And they'd look at me kind of weird, like, what does that have to do with it? Well, if your gut's not working right, your skin's not going to work right, because essentially the two work together. Super Detox, Body Shield, Fucoidan, again, all beneficial on the inside to help with the skin. The Age Pill removes glycation, lipofuscin, used internally, orally. But also they're finding that if you take and you add it to your skincare products, put it in your regimen for skincare, you can see a huge difference with it. Transfusium was developed by Tom Sr. and one of his friends who's in the cosmetic industry, and it's really kind of an amazing product. It's got 24 active ingredients that protect the skin from toxins and protect against UVA, UVB damage, and it provides nutritional support for skin, supports the inner structure that prevents sagging in skin. It supports the healthy stem cells in the skin. It has ingredients that hydrate, nourish. I mean, here's a product that really, realistically, if you compared it to any other skincare product on the market, it should cost hundreds of dollars. But we price it as a reasonable cost, under $100. And then we have Actify 6000, which is a great hydration and wrinkle prevention product. We have Rapid Repair that helps with damaged skin. And most skincare companies that use the ingredient that's in Rapid Repair use so very little of the ergothioneine that they can't even meet the research claims. Sisel, when we manufactured this product, when Tom formulated this product, he said, I'm going to put the right amount in there so it actually works. I use Rapid Repair every single night. I love the product. You know, if you've been listening to this, if you've been listening to the recording of this, you're thinking, holy cow, how am I going to afford all that? Right? Well, it's not cheap to stay healthy. And I don't know why processed food costs so much more than food. I think it's because they take the vitamins and minerals out and they do it with other things. They sell it to cattle farmers. You know, they make fertilizer for your grass. I don't know what they do with it, but it's not in your food, right? And you know, maybe it's the fact that if they take all the good stuff out, maybe the food would sit on the shelf longer. I don't know. You'd think that unprocessed food would be cheaper because you don't have to process it. But in any case, it's not cheap to get healthy. If you're concerned with many health issues, you're going to have to spend some money. But like I said on the first slide, you know, for every dollar you spend on prevention, you're going to save money. You're going to save money on treatment down the road. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to hand this over to Katie now. And Katie, I'm going to have you cover a little bit about how people can actually get their products for free. If you want to tell people a little bit about that. So I'm going to hand that over to you.
Sure. Thanks, Kurt. Can you hear me?
Loud and clear.
Great. So we've got a slide here showing products, how to get products for free. So this was based on the Australian price list, and so it varies slightly from country to country, but generally it will be fairly close. So essentially what you've got on this slide is you've got, say, yourself, and if you go out and find 12 people, and so you find the first 3, and then you can work with them to help them find 3. And if that makes up essentially what's called 8 distributors and 5 preferred customers, that would give you approximately, not approximately, it will give you actually exactly $185 per month if all of those customers were buying the Age Pill 2-pack. And $185 is enough to cover the Age Pill 2-pack, so it's I believe it's $157 in Australia, and it's in New Zealand dollars, and then you've got the shipping as well. So it covers the price of the pack plus the shipping, and that would be the first step into, you know, getting your product for free. So if you've fallen in love with the products like myself and many others have, then this is something that it's definitely worth considering and working towards. So even if it takes you a year, then at least at the end of the year, you'd be getting, you know, your product paid for if you were ordering the HP 2-pack. If you're ordering more than that, obviously you could keep working to find some more people who also want to enjoy the products as you do. So that's it for that slide. So just wanted to keep it simple and just cover that.
So Katie, just to kind of reiterate this again for people. So you're basically saying if I go find 3 and help those 3 each find 3 each, I can essentially get my products for free or pretty close to free, just for finding 3 people that might want to get healthy.
Yep, and that's right. And it's pretty easy to do, because what happens, Kurt, is when people fall in love with the product, they want to share it with others. And in fact, it's difficult to keep quiet about it, especially when you start taking the Age Pill. Your skin's looking great, you're feeling better, you've got more energy, and even people notice and say, wow, what have you been doing? Well, there's a perfect opportunity and to share that with them, and then invite them to try the product and get on board, and they'll fall in love with it as well.
I love it. That's so easy, you know, and folks that are listening to the call, you know, think about that. If the products do what I was just talking about, if it's as easy as Katie says it is right here, and I'm telling you it is, who couldn't do this? And you tell me, if you could get healthier and it's not going to cost you a dime, why wouldn't you do it? Right? Katie, wouldn't you agree with that? Why wouldn't you do it?
Absolutely. So, I mean, when I first heard about the concept going back quite some time ago, I felt really uncomfortable and thought, no, you know, that's not for me. I just want to be a product user. And then I ended up calling the lady back that introduced me, and I said, so can you tell me again how you get the products for free? So I quickly changed my mind. It only took a couple months. So even though I thought at first I didn't want to, I changed my mind.
There you go. Well, folks, and that's really the end of the presentation. You know, I find that, you know, it's it'll answer a lot of questions, and I'll get everything posted onto the YouTube channel. It'll be up on the Sisel World Team channel within the next probably hour or two. And Katie, you'll have it posted to your YouTube channel as well, right?
Yeah, that's right, on the Sizzlers Connect.
Sizzlers Connect. So it'll be on both websites, and be sure to share it with people. And Katie, thanks for getting on, and you'll come back next week and you'll explain this over and over and over again for everybody, so that we can pound it into their head that free product, free is good, right? Free is good.
Yeah, free is great.
I love it. All right, folks. Well, thanks, Katie. Thanks for helping. For everybody that's on the call, thank you for being here. And for everybody listening to the recording, everybody have a great year. Thank you. Bye-bye.